Hi loves, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well today. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Nina or Sinfulpluto. And if you are returning, welcome back. Thanks for joining us here again today. And I hope that you enjoy your stay here with all of us, and I hope that you receive a message that you need to hear for this upcoming Scorpio season. I'm filming this on the 22nd, so tomorrow is going to be Scorpio season, starting at 1:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, I might be struggling a little bit in this video because I got a sore throat. With that being said, I hope that you enjoy this video and that it resonates with you, and let me know if it resonates. Comment down below all of your feedback, give the video a thumbs up, share with your friends, family, loved ones, subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos, and yeah, let's get right into it.
Alrighty, my loves, we have 5 piles here. The first is amethyst, all the way on the left. Next is pyrite. After that is lapis lazuli, opal, and rose quartz. So go ahead and close your eyes, take a few deep mindful breaths, and ask your spirit guides and your angels and your ancestors how this Scorpio season will be like for you. Once you have your answer, you can go ahead to the timestamp that I will have down below. Good luck.
Hi group 1, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well today. Obviously, if you chose this group, you chose the amethyst, so let us get right into your reading, my love. So we have Temperance here, so Sagittarian energy. You could be dealing with a Sagittarius, or maybe those are one of your placements. We have the 9 of Pentacles. We have the 8 of Wands reversed. And we have the 10 of Cups reversed. Excuse me. So Temperance to me signifies, especially with this Scorpio season, for those of you who chose group 1, I really do feel that this Scorpio season is definitely going to challenge you a little bit in terms of finding patience, in terms of being able to compromise, in terms of spiritual alignment. I feel like it's really going to teach you to find a balance between hot and cold, because with Scorpio season, Scorpios, they very much take everything to the extreme. There's never a gray area with a Scorpio. It's very black and white with them. And so I feel that with this Temperance card, you are really going to be challenged and to be taught to find the balance between being very reactive and being very passive. That's kind of what it seems like with this fire and water here. That's kind of what it feels like, is finding that balance between, bursting into flames, being very angry, being full of rage, or just being very reactive in terms of your anger, I guess you could say. I can't think of another word. I can't think of a synonym. But so it's that one end, and then the water, which to me is just like really a lot of passivity, and learning to use both of them to temper yourself, to find a balance within yourself, to know when to exude a little bit of fire, but not to let it go out of hand so that it results in like a forest fire, so to speak. But also learning how to temper the water and not letting it overwhelm you and drown yourself and everyone else around you, so to speak. So that's really what it feels like. I also feel that with this Temperance card, there could be some sort of like mentorship energy, or like you being a student and someone being a mentor of yours. I feel like higher learning philosophy might be very important to you this Scorpio season. And I feel like a lot of you are going to learn how to detach yourself from material things and from your ego and from the physical world. Because with this 9 of Pentacles, this talks about like material abundance. This talks about being so close to your goal. And with the Pentacles, this is like monies. Money, stability, security, reputation, power, influence, that sort of thing. And I feel that with this Temperance card, I feel that it's a time for spiritual alignment for you. And I feel like you are going to learn how to not place so much value on money and all of the other things that I listed. And obviously, you know, money can be an important thing, you know, like we need money to survive in this world, but learning how to not attach to it and not learning how to not become so, I guess, dependent on it. Although that's kind of an iffy way to put it, but I'll just say that for lack of a better word. I feel like there might be a little bit of an issue of like hoarding money with this, because we know like the Nine of Pentacles, it's like enclosed within the feathers. Also, animals might be very important to you or significant to you this Scorpio season, especially birds. You might be seeing a lot of feathers this Scorpio season. You might be seeing a lot of birds. And I'll later show you other stuff that ties into it. But you might be seeing a lot of birds, a lot of animals that could be significant to you. So take note of that. Look up the meanings, the symbolism of those animals if you see them frequently. And if you feel if you feel that they have any significance to you. But I think specifically it might be birds for a lot of you. But anyways, aside from that, I feel like with this, right, with the Nine of Pentacles, the pentacles are all kind of caged in within the feathers. They can't leave that place. And so the feeling that I get with this is like hoarding something, you know, being a little bit miserly, not wanting to share your wealth, your reputation, status, power, influence, whatever it is, kind of wanting to keep it to yourself. And maybe because you feel as though you have worked so hard for that, you want to keep it all to yourself, you know? Which is understandable, and I get that, and you know, that's valid. But I feel like this Scorpio season is really going to teach you how to not attach to that so much, and to be a little bit more generous, to have a little bit more gratitude for not only what you have already, but to be grateful for what you are earning and what you will earn in the future. And it doesn't have to be in terms specifically of money, but in anything in general. And I feel like Scorpio season is definitely a time of like, I guess, transition or of redirection, of renavigating, because with this Eight of Wands here, reversed, this to me signifies like misdirection and needing to renavigate, needing to find a different way to get to your destination and finding another way to do something, not being so impulsive, that sort of thing. And I feel like this to me just talks about needing to redirect your life, needing to redirect your values, your morals, I guess you could say, and redirecting your values to things that have a little bit more importance or that should require a bit more priority in your life, whatever that might be for you. For some of you, it could have to do with college with this Temperance card and Sagittarius. I could have to do with philosophy, higher learning, or any sort of thing like that. With expanding your horizons in some way. Anything that would be related to like Sagittarian sort of energy. So maybe like travel, adventure, spontaneity, higher learning, philosophy, looking at the bigger picture rather than focusing on the very small details that are kind of irrelevant, you know? And so I do see this need to redirect your life to kind of not necessarily change the address on your GPS, but to take a different route, essentially. And I feel that with this Ten of Cups reversed, this kind of tells me how even though physically you might have everything, or materially you might have everything, but emotionally you're lacking. And that's why we need to find a balance here. You know, no one is saying that you have to be like, no one is saying that you have to give up wealth or status or reputation in order to be happy. No one is saying that. But there has to be a balance between the two things, and emotional fulfillment should always be a priority rather than, I think, physical fulfillment. And when I say physical, I mean like just like material, physical things that are very temporary, you know, that sort of thing. And so I feel that there's kind of this almost like ascension that will happen with you, group one, of learning to find the balance between the emotions and the spiritual stuff and the spiritual side versus the material, physical side and aspect of life. And I feel like it all makes sense because we have that temperance card, right? The balance, the compromise, that's like literally the temperance, like finding a balance between them. And this to me talks about balance in terms of spirituality specifically, and coming back into alignment with your spirituality, especially if some of you have been feeling out of touch with yourselves spiritually. I think that Scorpio season is going to teach you and going to help you kind of re-navigate down the path of your spiritual self and towards your higher self, so to speak. So that's something worth noting. I feel like this Scorpio season is definitely going to be a huge, I guess, life lesson for you, I guess you could say. I have Saint Mary Immaculate. I'm so sorry if I butcher that name. But we have Saint Mary Immaculate, the number 13, life lessons. Also 13, I'm pretty sure, is the death card in tarot. And in tarot, that is all about transformation, regeneration, rebirth. So it's just interesting how this all lines up. Also, you know, Scorpio is a death card, or the death card is associated with Scorpio in that Scorpio season. So I just like how that aligns very well. And also you can see the birds here. So I don't know what type of bird it is, but maybe that bird is significant to you in some way this upcoming month. Maybe it's like a pet of yours. I don't know. But what I get with this Saint Mary Immaculate card is this is basically all about teaching. You could be some sort of, maybe you were enrolling back into school Scorpio season, or taking some sort of class, or, you know, you are following maybe you're following a mentor of yours with this card. But this to me is like teacher student sort of vibe, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening for you this Scorpio season. It's just being a teacher, either being a teacher or being a student, being mentored by someone, learning, you know, being a student for yourself, and then eventually turning into like a master of that, a teacher of that, and teaching other people, you know, your wisdom, your knowledge, everything that you have learned from your experiences and things along those lines. Also, if I remember correctly, I'm gonna look in the guidebook really quick because this is a new deck for me. And so if I remember correctly, with the little synopsis that they provided of like her life, she traveled, I'm pretty sure. Maintained a life of minimalism, yet traveled extensively around the world, including trips to Peru and Italy, learning various cultures and ways of teaching to incorporate into her own schools. Her unique and progressive leadership was not widely favored by the surrounding congregations, and she was excommunicated and exonerated several times during her life. However, she was elected a superior general in 1899 and served in the capacity until her death in 1909. So I feel like some of you, oh God, I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like some of you, maybe some of you are traveling with this during the Scorpio season, traveling specifically to help other people, to aid in some way, you know, or providing to charity in some way is kind of like what it seems like. Especially, and when I say providing charity, I say that specifically because of this Nine of Pentacles, where it's like you have all of this wealth, and I feel like it's kind of time for you to share it, and to not keep it to yourself, but to share the wealth, because that stuff is unlimited. Okay, money will always be unlimited, wealth will always be unlimited. And so that's kind of like what it feels like, is that I feel that you are being encouraged to give your money to charities or to foundations that, you know, strike a chord with you in some way. There's a need to redirect your energy and to redirect where you're putting your money, that sort of thing. Kind of learning to be a little bit more selfless rather than selfish. You know what, it happens. We're all human. We all have our tendencies. And then we have Saint Francis healing. So again, there's the whole animal vibe there. Okay, a wolf could be significant to you, a moose could be significant to you, or an owl. But again, with the whole bird thing, animals just might be drawn to you this Scorpio season. Maybe you were like an animal healer, or like being like a veterinarian. Maybe you are, you know, wanting to work in support of like animals and, you know, working against animal cruelty and things like that. I don't know, like learning to, maybe some of you could be putting a little bit more priority on the lives of animals this Scorpio season, if that kind of makes sense. Putting your money into things that support them, that advocate for their protection and things of that nature. I feel like animals could be very, very healing to you. I also feel like, again, you just might be. Oh, also, I remember what this card, what I read from the synopsis of this. So Saint Francis, he came from a good family, I believe, and he was supposed to go into the military, and something caused him to not do it. I think he decided to not go anymore. And he dedicated his life to like chastity and like helping other people, helping the poor, things of that nature, and like being a spiritual teacher for them. Hold on. Because I thought that his story really resonated with what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, he was the son of a wealthy merchant. He intended to live a life in the military, refused. He received spontaneous and grand visions from the divine and soon lost the desire for his former luxurious life. He developed a mission to share the divinity of peace, forgiveness, and brotherly love to the world, to the living world. He continued to enable his life mission, restoring the values of life through humble poverty, chastity, and self-obedience. He grew enormously, and he was known for his spiritual ability to communicate with and understand animals, and his sanctuary provided home to wild creatures of all kinds, from wolves, deer, birds, owls, and even to the bees. So that sort of thing. It could also be with this card, like I said, the spiritual communication. Some of you could be developing a lot of spiritual abilities while you are on this mission to provide or to spread, you know, like loving energy, forgiveness, all of the things that were listed in that description over there. But that's kind of like what it feels like. And we also have priest, again, very spiritual people. Some of you could be working in the church, but this to me is also like a teacher of some sort, a spiritual teacher, a spiritual mentor, right? This to me is like all about teaching. It's all about balance. I feel like spirituality is going to play a very big role for you this Scorpio season, which I think is just very beautiful. And I think that, and it doesn't even have to be like religion specifically. It's just spirituality overall. I really feel like you're just going to be following this spiritual path this week. You're going to be redirecting yourself down a spiritual path. And it says, facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. Shadow attributes are violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. So be mindful of the balance between those two things. And then we have Midas / Miser. I think it's Miser. And this says entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches. And I believe that is what you have to do, is sharing life's riches, not keeping it to yourself, not hoarding it, you know, not being selfish, I guess, in that sense. Learning to share the love, the gratitude, the money, the power, the influence, you know, not just keeping it to yourself. And that's kind of like what it feels like. I feel like this is very community oriented, kind of, you know. And here it says, for the shadow attributes, hoarding money and emotions, obsessive fear of losing your wealth. You know, that's what I was saying earlier with this Nine of Pentacles, like hoarding your money, keeping it all in one place, not wanting to share it with anyone. And so I feel like it's almost like you're gonna be humbled this Scorpio season. And I don't mean that, and I don't want to like scare anyone by saying that. Like, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but it does feel like a humbling Scorpio season experience. And then we have we have two spirit messages. We have Animal Kingdom. And it says, animals of all types are extraordinary creatures and miraculous gifts to us. They have been our spiritual companions since the dawn of time. At this moment, they have lessons to share with you that will open your heart and soul. So like I said, animals can be very significant to you, specific animals. If you keep on seeing certain animals a lot, look up the symbolism behind that and see what your spirit guides are trying to tell you. And then we have relationships. And it says, relationships are just mirror images of your own life, how you feel and treat yourself, as well as how you react and respond to different situations and people around you. Be aware that every relationship is an opportunity for soul growth. Beautiful. So that is all that I have for you, my loves. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading, group one. I hope that it resonates. Let me know if it does in the comments down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if it did. Share with your friends, family, loved ones, anyone that you want to share it with. And I'm so sorry for my voice and all of the stuff going on. Subscribe and hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. I hope that you have a wonderful day, my loves. Please drink water, take care of yourselves, and rest easy, okay? All right, I love you. Bye. Hey, group two, how are you? Obviously, if you chose this group, you chose the pyrite. So let's get right into your reading, okay? So we're gonna start off first with the tarot cards. We have the Four of Wands reversed, the Eight of Pentacles, the Devil reversed, Capricorn energy. You could be dealing with the Capricorn, or maybe you have Capricorn placements in your chart, and the Two of Swords reversed. Okay. So this is very interesting. The first thing that I can say for you, group two, is that there might be some sort of instability or simultaneous, or not, is it simultaneous? Spontaneous change within the home environment, or in terms of an environment that is very familiar to you, that is part of your everyday routine. So whether it's like school, work, things of that nature, it kind of feels like there's kind of be a little bit of a change. It might feel as though your world is kind of upside down in a sense. There might be this sense of, or this feeling of having an unstable foundation, not being able to walk on your 2 feet, because things are just so kind of rocky. It can be that there are issues within the family, within the home, like I said. Maybe there's some sort of issue with a relationship in your life with the Four of Wands, whether it's familial, platonic, romantic, whatever relationship this is. There could be a little bit of issues that are being presented to you, or that you will finally realize, because I feel that some of you may have been in denial about this with this Two of Swords reversed. Some of you may have been in denial, or trying to be in denial as to the issues at hand. Maybe you didn't want to face the reality of the situation. Maybe you thought that if you worked hard enough, you'd be able to get through this situation, whatever situation applies to you. But I feel like there's a much needed release that needs to take place with this Devil card reversed. Okay, this is all about, releasing yourself from temptations, addictions, unhealthy things, toxic things, really bad habits, addictions, so to speak. That sort of thing is kind of like what it feels like. Is like there's a need to release yourself from that. And for some of you, that this release could be in relation to a relationship in your life, or a home environment, or something that has something to do with your school life or your work life, or something like that. There's a need to release yourself from it, because there's a strong dependency on this thing, and it's almost making you feel as though you're a prisoner of your own world, like you don't have free will almost. and it's almost like you just keep on falling deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole and you don't know how to get out of it, that sort of thing. And so, you know, you might have been in denial of how unhealthy the situation might have been, whatever the situation is. You know, like I said, Two of Swords reverse, in denial, not wanting to face the reality of the situation, not wanting to go through any changes, because this was a very, even though it may not have been healthy or productive for you, it was familiar and comfortable. And a lot of the times we find ourselves in situations that may not be the best for us, but that has become our default, or it has become our comfort zone. And so we have a hard time kind of walking away from that, because then that means walking away from familiarity, right? And as humans, we enjoy that. We don't like change. So that's one thing. I feel that this week you might be focusing a little bit more on your work, or you need to focus a little bit more on your work with this Eight of Pentacles. I also feel like whatever issue is at hand, with anything that I've described thus far, I feel that this Eight of Pentacles is kind of saying how everything is very intertwined. It's not just separate situations that have nothing to do with one another. It's like everything is interconnected. Everything, you know, plays a part, and it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a domino effect necessarily, but it's just like everything is interconnected. Everything, you know, is part of this bigger web. There's a bigger picture to all of this. It's not just separate circumstances. It's a lot of things that have been adding up and accumulating, and that are very interrelated, you know? So if some of you have been saying, oh, well, this is just a coincidence, this is not related at all to this situation, again, because of like the denial part, I feel like this Eight of Pentacles is saying how they are interrelated, they are interconnected, and there is a bigger picture to all of this. And I also feel like with this Four of Wands, I don't know why, but I don't know why, but for some reason with this Four of Wands, I thought of the word like possessiveness, like possession. I don't know if someone is like very possessive, someone who's very close to you, whatever relationship that you have with them, it feels like they're very possessive of you for some reason. Or maybe you might be possessive of them, you know, reverse the roles however way that you need to. I also feel like some of you might be trying to escape your home life because of the instability. Because of the instability here, the unstable foundation, you know, possible arguments, or just like overall disharmony within the home life, or within a certain relationship in your life, whatever that is. You might be like actively avoiding that and focusing a little bit more on making your money, on your career and stuff like that. Like, again, trying to be in denial of it, not wanting to face the reality of the situation, just running away from things in hopes that it'll just go away on its own. But I do feel that it's not going to go away until you actually face it. I feel like this Scorpio season is really going to make you come to terms with your shadow side, and with the shadow side of a certain situation in your life, and not just be in denial of the reality of something. I feel like if you have been actively avoiding a certain truth or a certain reality, or a certain perspective even, that's definitely going to be wiped away during Scorpio season, and you are going to be kind of forced to see the reality of a situation, whatever the situation might be for you. And then we have Carl Jung and Saint Barbara empowerment. Carl Jung says collective unconscious, and empowerment is for Saint Barbara. The number 2 could be significant to you, because I have 20 and 2, so 2 plus 0 obviously is 2. So the number 2 can be significant to you, but I also think that relationships are just very significant to you this Scorpio season. If, for example, if you're a Taurus rising, you're gonna have a Scorpio stellium in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, contracts, friends, but also public enemies, open enemies. So like any sort of partnership, any sort of open partnership is going to be heavily focused on for you this week if you're a Taurus rising. But anyways, so that's why I'm saying like the number 2, the focus could be relationships for you. That makes sense because I also have the 4 of Wands here. So I feel like a lot of you are going to be seeing the reality of a situation with a given relationship in your life. Whatever relationship that is, whether it's with you and another person, or you and another, like a job, or you and something else, whatever it is, right? And so, yeah, I feel like it's important for you to pay attention to your dreams and the symbolism of your dreams with this Carl Jung card, Collective Unconscious. Definitely pay attention to symbolism, synchronicities, if you're seeing any of them. I feel like your dreams might really be trying to communicate something to you. Your subconscious is trying to communicate something to you that you have been repressing for a very long time. So if you're having, like, for example, reoccurring dreams, I would definitely look up the symbolism behind the, like, things that are going on behind, like, in your dreams and stuff like that. What else? If you're seeing synchronicities, look up the meanings behind those, that sort of thing. I feel like numbers are going to be very significant to you. And I say that because I have like a clock behind here. So I just feel like numbers might be very significant to you. Yeah. I also feel like there's kind of this feeling of like time running out, or like a ticking time bomb, so to speak. I guess you could say. I don't know why that comes to mind, but there's like a pocket watch, I guess you could say. There's a pocket watch here, and there's a clock behind there. So I don't know if there's like a significance of a clock for some of you, or like time for some of you. This to me kind of just says like time has run out for some of you, or in terms of like this relationship, or like time has run out in terms of like being in denial. I feel like it's now, you know, time has run out, you've reached the deadline, and now you have to, you know, face the reality of things, right? And we have Saint Barbara, empowerment, and this is basically very much all about empowerment. This is about being courageous and you know, like standing up for yourself, standing your ground, being brave. Because I feel like for some of you, you may have been made to feel as though you're a prisoner of your own world, of your own life, and that you don't have any free will, and that you don't have a choice in anything that goes on in your life, because either someone or something has made you feel helpless or powerless. And this card, this empowerment card, is telling me that you are definitely not powerless. If anything, you are the opposite. You are powerful. You are resourceful. You can help yourself. You do have a choice in things. You can make a difference. You can change these things. You can change your circumstances. You know, you don't have to continue kind of like falling down this rabbit hole of someone trying to be in control of you, of basically being the puppet to someone's puppet master, you know? You know, like, you don't have to continue following someone else's orders simply because they told you to, or because they have made you feel that that is the only option that you have. I feel like that's definitely relevant for some of you this Scorpio season, is stepping into your power, empowering yourself, you know, stepping into some courageous energy. Some of you, I would recommend calling onto and praying to Archangel Michael, because he helps in giving you courage and bravery in times like this, in times of like war, so to speak. I would definitely call on him and pray to him. If you ever feel lost or alone or betrayed or helpless or defeated in some way, I would definitely call on him. If you ever feel that you can't do it anymore and that you have to surrender. And then we have companion. Like relationships, I really do think that relationships are going to be very significant to you this month. We have light attributes, loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. Shadow attributes, betrayal by misusing confidences, loss of personal identity. So that may have happened for some of you, where you lost yourself within a relationship in your life, or you lost yourself within a job, and you became like another minion almost. And like, I understand that happens. Like, I get it. We tend to lose ourselves when we are working for other people, especially like big corporations. Sometimes we just become a number rather than a person or a name. And so you might feel betrayed this Scorpio season. Some of my lose your trust or your confidence or your loyalty. They might I feel like someone is going to show their true colors, and I feel like it's up to you to step into your power and no longer allow this person to walk all over you, especially if they have not been treating you with the utmost respect. Okay? And then we have hedonist. So again, with the whole, that's a devil card too, man. That really is the devil card. Light attributes inspires creative energy to embrace the good things in life, celebrates the beauty in yourself. Shadow attributes pursues pleasure to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. So that is something to keep in mind. And then we have trust right here. The color green might be significant to you. While your logical mind is dictating a supposedly clear direction, your soul's inner guidance is urging you to follow an alternative path. The logical path may be one that you consider safe and more familiar, but you could be missing out on boundless opportunities and so much more. So do the thing that you know you have to do, even if it's not familiar. And I know that can be, easier said than done, but still very possible. And then we have strength. Again, orange can be significant to you. Also, some of you might need to work on your heart chakra and your sacral chakra. Let's see. So strength comes from many sources. Staying strong brings confidence, conviction, and a balanced body, mind, and soul. Spirit has its own unique and beautiful way of replenishing your soul with strength on a continual basis. You're never really alone, as we are always with you. So those are 2 messages from Spirit to you. So you were never alone. You might feel alone, you might feel powerless, but just know that your spirit guides and your angels are always with you. And if you need their help, call on them, okay? Don't hesitate to call on them and to ask them for their guidance and for their help. So with that being said, I hope that this reading resonates with you, group 2. Let me know in the comments down below if it did. Give the video a big thumbs up, share with your friends, family, loved ones, subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. If you want to purchase a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below. If you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. So with that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful Scorpio season. Bye. Hey group 1, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well. Obviously, if you chose this group, you chose the lapis lazuli. So let's go ahead and get started. So for your tarot cards, I actually pulled more than I did the others. I got 5 cards instead of 4. I have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. You could be dealing with that. That could be significant to you this Scorpio season. We have the 7 of Cups reversed. We have the 10 of Swords reversed. We have the 8 of Cups reversed. And we have the Magician reversed. Okay, so Sagittarian, Virgo, Gemini energy. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we have the Chariot, right? This talks about moving forward, being very focused, direct, taking initiative. This can also refer to traveling. Maybe some of you are traveling during Scorpio season. Maybe some of you are moving. I actually feel like for some of you, moving physical locations is actually very needed, and it's something that maybe you have been thinking about for a while, but I feel like it's something that is very necessary for you this Scorpio season, because I feel that this Scorpio season is definitely a time to hit the reset button for you. With the 7 of Cups reversed, I feel like illusions are definitely being shattered. I feel like you're seeing things differently. You are seeing the reality of a situation. This is kind of similar to group 2 in terms of seeing the reality of a situation. Despite that, I see you not wanting to give up. I see you not really wanting to surrender, not really wanting to let go of the situation. Maybe some of you are holding a grudge about something, especially with this Chariot card, which is the Cancer, that's like the Cancer card. And Cancers tend to hold a grudge for a very long time. So if this is the case, I feel like this Scorpio season is definitely a time to let go of that grudge. and allow yourself to move on freely and not be tied down to anything like that, you know, not allow your heart to be tied to anything that emotionally just doesn't serve you in that way. This doesn't necessarily mean like you have to forgive this person, especially if, or this person or this thing, whatever it is, especially if they hurt you in some way, but holding on to that in your heart just won't do you any good. And I also feel like for some of you, in terms of like this whole giving up thing, I feel like there's a part of you who might, there's some of you who might feel stagnant, or have been feeling stagnant this Libra season and up until the Scorpio season with this 8 of Cups reversed. And I feel like some of you are kind of hesitant to move forward, to take the action, to do what the Chariot is encouraging you to do, because you're looking at all of the broken glass. And you're like, well, if I walk forward, like if I walk through it, obviously I'm going to hurt myself, and you want to avoid the pain. But, you know, I feel like some of you might be so focused on like the broken glass that you're not realizing that there's a broom right next to you and you can literally sweep it away, and then move forward. That's kind of like what it feels like, is there's like this fixation on this is going to be painful, and like thinking how there's no other option and how you absolutely have to go through this like glass in order to like be free in some way, when really it doesn't have to be that complicated. It doesn't have to be this dramatic. You don't actually have to walk through a pile of glass in order to reach the exit. So I feel like that's kind of something that's coming through for some of you, is learning, not even, I don't necessarily want to say learning, but just like realizing, I guess you could say, that you don't necessarily have to walk a painful path in order to leave. You can swipe away the glass, or you can literally just walk around it. Like, it doesn't have to be this specific path. You can walk around it. You don't have to walk through it. You can literally just sidestep it. And with this Magician reversed, I feel like some of you might have a little bit of difficulty with self-worth, believing that you are capable of manifesting wonderful things into your life. I also feel that with this Magician reversed, this signifies an ineffective use of your energy. Some of you might be very creative. Some of you might be very wonderful at manifesting. Some of you might be very wonderful with certain things. You might be very skillful at certain things, and it's almost like you are a jack of all trades almost. And you know how to do a lot of things. However, I feel that with this Magician reversed, some of you may have relied a little bit too much on your charm or on your luck. Think Sagittarius with this. I always think of Sagittarius when I see the Magician reversed, or just the Magician in general. Some of you may have been relying a little bit too much on your luck, your charm, your charisma in order to get what you want. And I feel like this Scorpio season is kind of gonna give you a little bit of a reality check and say that if you want something, you actually have to put in the work. You actually have to, you know, put in some effort. You can't just expect luck to be on your side, because I feel like you may have relied on that so much to the point that now you're dependent on it. And that kind of leads a little bit to stagnation, because, you know, you're not really working for anything. It's just being handed to you in a sense. And I feel like that's just like an ineffective use of your energy. If there's something that you want, you can definitely manifest it, but you also have to put in the effort for that and not rely solely on your luck. And that's why it's important for you to take initiative with this Chariot card. Take initiative, take action. You have to be very focused. You have to be very direct as to what you want. Communicate your feelings very clearly. Communicate your desires very clearly. Don't let anyone distract you. Don't let the advice, or not even the advice, but the critiques, I guess you could say, of others distract you. Do what you feel is right, even if people doubt you or don't believe in you, whatever the case might be. Yeah. And then we have Saint Christopher, Soul Journey. So I feel like a lot of you really like are on this new beginning. You're following a path of a new beginning, especially with this Chariot here. Like, you're on a path to new beginning. Some of you could be changing your physical settings, or your physical environment. You could be moving somewhere, like I said. You could be traveling somewhere. Whether it's permanent or temporary. I feel like you're kind of like changing your environment in some way. whether it's external or internal. I just see like a change in environment. But I also feel like this is just like definitely a new beginning. You're hitting the reset button. And I feel like you're being encouraged to follow a path of spirituality specifically, because I have the spirituality card here as well. Emmanuel Swedenborg. I also feel like your intuition is very important to you this week, which, and I mean, it makes sense because it's like Scorpio season, water sign, the veil is thin. So I'm not surprised that intuition keeps on coming up for a lot of these piles. But I do feel like it's important for you to follow your intuition. I feel like what's really being activated is your, what was it? I think it was your third eye and your crown. And there was another chakra, but I don't remember what it was. But I do feel that you are being encouraged to follow a new path. And to follow your own path rather than following a path that is expected of you, if that kind of makes sense. If there is for example, a maternal figure in your life who is a little bit controlling or who is expecting you to do something because they want to live vicariously through you, I feel like the Scorpio season is going to show how that is not necessarily meant for you, but also how, like, you might end up revealing how you're just not going to follow what they want and you're going to do your own thing and you're going to be your own person and not allow them to live through you, because they have their chance to live their own lives, if that kind of makes sense, So yeah, like I do feel like the Scorpio season is going to feel like a soul journey to you. I feel like, again, there could be some sort of travel, some sort of traveling going on for some of you this Scorpio season. Whether it's like a vacation or if you're literally moving somewhere new, but I do feel that there's a sense of traveling. Maybe some of you are like backpacking or something, or almost like being a nomad, I guess you could say, like nomadism sort of vibe is kind of what's coming through with that soul journey card. We have Emmanuel Swedenborg, spirituality. So again, your intuition will, I think you definitely need to rely on your intuition. You need to definitely follow your intuition. And here I have gambler, and it says light attribute, willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. So follow your intuition even if you feel blinded, even if you feel that the path in front of you isn't all that clear. But if you have a gut feeling that that is the path that you need to be following, then continue following it, even if people discourage you from that, okay? I feel like it's time for a reset. It's time to surrender. It's not necessarily give up, but like surrender to this new change, to this new life, to this new path, rather than trying to make the old settings work, I guess you could say. If you have been trying to make something work out that you have known for a while that it's just like done, it's done and dead, I feel like you are really being encouraged to, let go of that. It's almost like, like the whole shedding of the skin thing. But I also, like, the thing that I'm imagining is like someone, this is really weird, but like someone wearing the carcass or the skin of this animal. I don't know what kind of animal this is. I think it might be an ox. Whatever animal this is, I just see them like wearing the skin of this animal and it's just like rotting, and it's just like not working out in their favor having this thing, and it's kind of time to just like let this thing go, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know, that was like a weird visualization that I have there. I don't necessarily know how to entirely explain that, but anyways. So yeah, intuition is very important, I think, for some of you, for a lot of you, or most of you, or all of you, with this Swedenborg card, the spirituality card. There was actually something really profound, or something that I found profound when I was reading what this card meant. Because this is a new deck, so I have no idea what any of this stuff means. Okay, so there's an excerpt here, and it says, he challenges our notions of the unknown, gently pushing us, hold on, where did it go? Gently pushing us to face our mortality and time in the world. Are you working to live or just living to work? He reminds us to not solely rely on faith without action, to surrender the ego and its control of life and its minute details. Instead, focusing on the pursuit of passionate study, internal self-improvement, and open exploration of the universe and its many mysteries. And then there's a quote that says, love consists in desiring to give what is our own to another and feel his delight as our own. I like that. I also feel like it's definitely a time to cleanse yourself, like cleanse your aura, cleanse your energy, kind of like do, like if you're able, do like a chakra healing or like some sort of energy healing, Reiki, pranic healing, that sort of thing. I feel like Scorpio season is definitely something that is, I feel like it'd be necessary, or it would be favorable to you to kind of like hit the reset button in that way. Reset yourself energetically and see what you need to be working on. I feel like the root chakra and the sacral chakra will be significant to you, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But here we have Queen radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others, becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling, and demanding. So earlier I said if there's a feminine person in your life or a maternal figure in your life who's trying to control you and who is kind of like offended at the fact that you don't want to do what she wants you to do, I feel like there might be a little bit of friction or tension in terms of that. But I feel like as long as you stand your ground and you remain very focused, direct, and assertive, you'll be fine. Again, we have gambler. Willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you, relying on luck rather than hard work. So that's the whole misuse of energy here, because you have all the skills and tools necessary, but it's almost like it's just being focused in the wrong parts. There could also just actually be an issue of gambling for you this Scorpio season, and I would be mindful of that. And then we have inspire passion. Life devoid of passion can be a boring, uninspired blank canvas that solely drains the soul. Now is the time to reignite your passions and rejoin life. This is an opportunity to set new goals, which will in turn connect you with all that is sacred. There you go. Sacral chakra, like I said, because it's orange. So sacral chakra, which is like creativity, pleasure, passion, I'm pretty sure. Your sexual being or sexuality. So that could also be significant to the Scorpio season. And then we have self-love. Now is the time to love, nurture, and heal yourself. Self-love is not simply a state of mind about feeling good. It's a state of appreciation for yourself that grows and matures from actions you take to support your body, mind, and soul. So root chakra could be significant to you, which is all about safety, security, money, survival, that sort of thing. Excuse me. But yeah, that's all that I have for you, Group 3. I really hope that this resonates with you. Let me know in the comments down below if it does. Give the video a big thumbs up, share with your friends, family, loved ones, subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. And if you want to purchase a personal reading with me, you can do so at Sinfulpluto.com. And let's say, what else? If you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. So, with that being said, I will talk to you later. Bye. Hi Group 4, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well. Obviously, if you chose this group, you chose the opal. So let's get right into your reading. So first we have the Lovers, Gemini energy, Four of Cups reversed, the Emperor, Aries energy, and the World reversed, which is Saturnian energy, so Capricorn energy. Okay. So I can't help but notice that there is a lot of loving energy going on for you with this Lovers card and a lot of other cards that are coming through. I'll get more in depth about these cards later, but we have Saint Teresa, which says divine ecstasy, which I also feel like is related to like a Kundalini sort of experience. Again, I'll get into that later. but we also have Lover here. So I really do feel as though relationships might be in the forefront for you. You might find a relationship this Scorpio season if you're single, or if you're already in a relationship, I feel like that relationship is going to be strengthened. It's going to be very passionate. I feel like it's going to be reawakened in some way, reignited in some way, which I think is just really beautiful. The Lovers can also signify some sort of choice that you have to make. And I feel that in terms of this choice, it might feel as though you are very scattered. With this card here, this Four of Cups reversed, you might feel very lost. You might feel as though you don't know what to do. You might feel very scattered. Your energy is just all over the place. And you feel unclear as to how to feel or what to think or what is the right thing for you to do. And I feel like the best way for you to approach this is to sit down and meditate, to practice yoga, chant, speak words of affirmations, things along those lines. I feel like that would be very helpful for you, especially with this St. Jude card that I'll get into later. But I have this card here, and you know, he's praying here, and so this to me is kind of like saying how prayer could be very important for you this Scorpio season. If you're ever feeling lost, if you're ever feeling as though that you don't see light at the end of the tunnel, if you don't see a favorable outcome, sit down in prayer or in meditation and ask for confirmation or ask for guidance from your spirit guides, from your angels, and whatever that you believe in, from your ancestors, so that you can have a proper guideline or blueprint as to what to do. But I feel that something that's very important for you, group 4, is to ground yourself. I really feel that it's important for you to ground yourself, to sit down in meditation and to sit in stillness, to clear up your mind a little bit, because it does feel as though your mind might be all over the place. And I feel that there are a lot of things that are kind of running through your mind, and it might feel as though you have to be in absolute control. But I feel that the more you try to control things with this Emperor card, the more out of control you will begin to feel, or you will feel in general. This Emperor card, you could be dealing with an Aries or a Gemini this Scorpio season, or those could be significant energies for you this Scorpio season. But with this Aries card, this can sometimes signify like a control freak, someone who wants to be in absolute control. They want to be like kind of like a dictator almost. So if you are someone who feels so out of control that you are trying to have like this iron grip on your life or on certain circumstances or situations, I feel like this is saying that you need to surrender your control. You need to kind of detach yourself from your ego a little bit and to allow things to flow freely. And once you allow things to flow freely, things will become a lot more clearer for you. And I also feel like some of you might need to take action or take initiative in something, in moving forward, or in ending a chapter in your life, especially with this World card reversed. The World to me, having it reversed to me signifies unfinished business, history that keeps on repeating itself. So whatever history is continuing to repeat itself in your life, I feel like this is saying that it's time to take action, to take initiative, and to no longer remain passive. And learn how to release anything that does not need to be repeated, release anything that does not serve you, release anything that does not serve a purpose in your life anymore. Something that has reached its expiration date. I feel like it's a time to tie up any loose ends. For some of you, maybe this could be a relationship. If there's a relationship in your life that has been kind of just dragging on, and maybe you've been doubting whether or not you should stay in this relationship, I feel like this is saying that I feel like this is saying I feel like it's saying to reevaluate your position in this relationship. If you're genuinely happy in this relationship, that's why I think it's so important to meditate this month during Scorpio season, because we have the Four of Cups reversed, which to me is like trying to remain ignorant, you know, like blissful ignorance sort of thing. You know, a lack of meditation, a scattered energy, not knowing what to do, like feeling very in your head about things, like overthinking, feeling very unclear, feeling very foggy. So I really do feel that this Scorpio season is definitely a time to reevaluate, and to, especially with Mercury going retrograde soon, it's definitely a time to reevaluate and to re-examine our decisions, especially with the Lover's choice, or with the Lover's card here, re-examine our choices and the choices that we've made in our past and see if those are choices that actually benefit us, or if there is a better way to do things, you know? And like I said, if there's any sort of unfinished business that has to take place, this is definitely the time. Scorpio season is definitely the time that this has to be dealt with. This is definitely the time where things, you know, have to be revisited in order for them to be moved, in order for that chapter in your life to be closed, essentially. I really do feel, like I said, meditation, chanting, words of affirmation, prayer, whatever it is that you do in order to communicate with like your higher self, or with your spirituality, or with any sort of deity that you believe in, whatever the case may be, I feel like that is going to be essential for you. And I really do feel like it's important to release, to purge yourself of anything that just doesn't work out for you, that hasn't been working out for you, anything that has reached its expiration date. Yeah, so we have Saint Teresa, Divine Ecstasy here. So again, I really do feel that love, passionate relationships, or just very, and like, it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic relationships. I feel like it can be a passionate relationships in terms of like a friendship, or anything like that. Right? Having a friendship or any sort of relationship that is truly very fulfilling and very deeply fulfilling. But I feel like that's kind of like what this is saying. And I also feel like this is saying that, oh, some of you like might be writing something during Scorpio season. Like maybe some of you are writers, and maybe some of you are doubting whether or not this is like the right path to follow, whether or not you should pursue writing, whether this is like the story that you should be writing about, whatever the case may be. If you need some sort of confirmation, ask for it. And I think confirmation in the form of roses might be significant to you. You know, look out for any red roses that you see throughout the month. And I know like that's a common thing, but like, you know, out of nowhere, if you happen to see a red rose after, you know, asking for confirmation or asking for guidance, just know that that rose is confirmation. It is your form of validation, I guess you could say. It's your form to either move forward or to redirect, or whatever answer that you were looking for, you know. But like I said earlier, I think I said this earlier, but I said how I feel that some of you might reach like sort of like a kundalini, really like awakening experience this Scorpio season. I feel like there's this sense of like enlightenment that I get with this card, and there is this just like deep understanding of what you want. And I feel like, I don't know, it just feels like you're gonna have a lot of insight and a lot of wisdom that is kind of like thrown at you almost. Yeah. And then we have St. Jude, Saving Grace. So like I said, if you are feeling lost in this during the Scorpio season, if you feel directionless, if you feel as though you don't know what you're doing, if you feel that, you know, you're doing the wrong thing or anything like that, just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you will find that light at the end of the tunnel. The moon cycles might have some sort of significance for you, but also sitting in prayer, asking for guidance, asking for confirmation, asking for synchronicities and signs is really going to help you in believing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, even if you don't see it at this moment. I feel that by the end of the month, you are going to see that light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like I honestly feel like the beginning of Scorpio season might start off a little bit rough for you. I feel like progressively as the month goes on, you will feel a lot more clearer as to what direction you are following. I feel like you're going to be purging a lot, and I feel like you are going to have that clarity that you have been looking for. And by the end of Scorpio season, beginning of Sagittarius season, you know what you're going to be doing, or you know what to do, you know where to do it, you know when to do it. Like, you'll have all of the answers, I think, and you'll know. Maybe some of you need to focus or pay attention to the moon cycles and how they are affecting you. I don't know, like, why. I just feel like the moon cycles might be somehow significant to you. Or because it's Scorpio season. So the full moon in Taurus, is it the full moon? Yeah, the full moon in Taurus might be very significant to you in some way during the Scorpio season. So watch out for that. But I think in general, it's just like moon cycles are somehow significant to you this Scorpio season. Maybe some of you are a Cancer because you're ruled by the moon. I don't know. But anyways, we have lover. We have lover here. So again, confirmation of love. And if it's not love for someone else, you know, like if it's not like a romantic relationship or like a friendship or anything like that, I feel like this can also signify just like love for yourself. It's self-love, confidence within yourself, believing in yourself, appreciating yourself, nurturing yourself, that sort of thing. But here we have great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. Okay, so a lot of gratitude towards something that you might really love, or something that maybe you have taken for granted in the past, whether it's a person or a thing. And then we have the obsessive passion that harms others, self-destructive of devotion. So be mindful of this during Scorpio season, because I know that, you know, Scorpios can tend to be, you know, they have a tendency sometimes. Not all of them, but Scorpio energy has a tendency of being a little bit obsessive, being very fixated. You know, they can, undeveloped Scorpios specifically, they can be very, they can be very passionate and can go a little bit overboard very quickly. So that's just something to be mindful of. Definitely learn boundaries and make sure that the relationships that you're in are healthy and no one is exuding any sort of obsession that makes you like uncomfortable or anything like that. Make sure that there are boundaries, like I said, that it's all healthy, that there's open communication, and, you know, like enjoy yourself, you know, enjoy the passion, enjoy the fire, but, you know, also make sure that everyone knows their place, essentially. And then we have Destroyer, and it says, releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for new life. Yes, so some of you might be in relationships that are a little bit destructive, or you might be in situations that are destructive, or maybe you kind of have like self-destructive tendencies. I feel like this is something that has to be worked on or will be worked on throughout Scorpio season. There's a sense of transformation, preparing for a new life, shedding your old skin, and creating new and better habits that are not self-destructive. If anything, they are very healthy and promote a better life, a better lifestyle, should I say. And then we have intoxication with destructive power, destroying others' dreams or potential. So this is just something to be mindful of. Make sure that you are not trying to control other people, especially with this Emperor card. You know, this person can be, this Emperor person, this Emperor energy can definitely be someone who is very controlling, who, you know, they think that they are the only one that is right. You know, they think that it's either their way or the highway. So just be mindful of that. You know, let everyone kind of just do their own thing. If things don't go exactly your way, that's okay. And then we have nature. This is yellow. So, wait, is this yellow? This is more like of a light green. This is more like a light green. So, solar plexus and heart chakra could be significant to you this Scorpio season. It says, this is a time to absorb the healing properties that nature has to offer. Your mind, body, and soul need nourishment, energy, revitalization, and strength. Nature has much to offer, so take the time to connect and spend some quality time outdoors. And then we have vulnerability. This is confirmation that you're seeking to tread into the unknown, unfamiliar territory where decisions are based more on intuition than rationality. Don't let fear hold you back or allow a misguided sense that feeling vulnerable is somehow a negative condition. So there we go. Again, heart chakra could be very important to you because there's this green emphasis that I feel like. So with that being said, group 4, I really hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that it resonates with you. Let me know in the comments down below all of your feedback, your thoughts, anything that you want to share with me down below. I would love to hear it. Share it with your family, friends, loved ones if you want. Give the video a big thumbs up. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at Sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below. Make sure that you are reading everything, terms and conditions, things like that, just so that you know what you're getting yourself into and how my process works, okay? If you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram, at Sinfulpluto. So, with that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful Scorpio season. I wish you the best of luck. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, group 5. How are you? I hope that you are doing well. Obviously, if you chose this group, you chose the rose quartz. It looks kind of clear, but it's like it's a dusty, it's a light pink. But anyways, let's get into your reading today. So we're starting off pretty strong. We have the Death card. I thought it was inevitable given that it's Scorpio season. We have the Tower reversed. Again, very powerful card. We have the Page of Wands, or the Daughter of Wands. And we have the Hanged Man. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Major themes playing a huge role in your life this Scorpio season, whoever chose this group. A lot of Scorpionic energy, a lot of Martian energy with this Tower card, and also Piscean energy, Neptunian energy with this Hanged Man. So let's unpack everything. So we have Death, right? I get the sense of a very strong vulnerability with this card, feeling very vulnerable during the Scorpio season, feeling as though like you've just been picked apart, feeling as though you're just like skin and bones. I feel like there's a lot of purging going on, a lot of like heaviness that is just being lifted, a lot of things that are being brought to the surface. I feel as though conversations, and they're going to be either a lot of significant conversations during Scorpio season, or you're going to be learning a lot of very significant information during Scorpio season. And it makes sense because Scorpio season is literally all about unearthing everything that has been hidden. So I feel like if anything has been hidden from you, or if you have been hiding something from someone else, that is definitely going to be unearthed. And I'm not saying this as a way to scare you. I'm not trying to scare you, but I do feel that there's just a lot of purging going on, a lot of things that are coming to the surface. And the reason why I say like the whole conversation thing is because of the Page of Wands here. This to me is all about like communication. I feel like very significant conversations are going to be had. There could be unexpected news. There could be like some sort of a message or a conversation that is very significant to you, whether it's just one or multiple. I feel like words and like communication, any form of communication, any form of like spreading of information or like exchange of information is going to be very significant. I think it's important to pay attention to that sort of thing. I also feel as though with this Page of Wands, this signifies like traveling a journey that you have to follow. Given the rest of the cards, which I'll get into later, I really feel as though some of you kind of have to really like, I feel like you're gonna go through like this humbling sort of process, if you will. And it ties in so well with the other cards that I have. I'll get into it since we're on the subject, but I have Saint Martin Caballero as one of the oracles, and I was reading the story of him, or like a brief synopsis of, you know, his history and his story. And he started off as like a military man, like a military leader or something, and then one day, like in the middle of winter, he like went out on a walk or something, and he found like a beggar like sitting there and sitting outside in the cold, I think, to my understanding. And the Saint Martin, he took off his cloak and he cut it in half, and he gave part of it to the beggar, and you know, like that was that. And then after that incident, he had started receiving like very strong psychic messages, and like all of these, I don't think it was premonitions, but like all of these psychic messages and stuff like that, basically like praising him for his kindness and all of this other stuff. And like, you know, eventually not eventually, but after that, and after that incident of like the psychic messages, he decided to quit the military. And this was like right before he was supposed to go to war or into some battle or something. And so he was put to jail. And I think he was released from jail. And then after being released, he just lived this life of like being of service to other people and helping other people and like being very selfless in that sort of sense. So basically, that's kind of like what it feels like for you. Group 5 is like this sense of like being a higher up, or having a lot of status, or having something like a admiration, or, you know, being the center of attention in some way, having some sort of fame, recognition, wealth, power, influence, status, whatever it is, like having a lot of things that people would really admire, or like having a high position, for example, at a job. Whatever the case might be for you, it's like there's this sense of like, it's funny because I kind of see like, kind of goes along the lines of like the military thing, but I see someone with like a lot of pins or like badges to signify all of their accomplishments and stuff like that, and they're like tossing it to the side. That's what it feels like. That's kind of like being ripped away from them. And so there's this sense of like vulnerability, of like kind of being naked, because this was the path, the only path that you knew. And so there's this sense of like being humbled, like I said earlier, of being stripped of all of your accomplishments, achievements, everything. And for some of you, it might be intentional, or you might have willingly done this, or it might be something that, that kind of just happens unexpectedly. Especially, with this Page of Wands, of like that unexpected message or something. But I also feel that for another part of you, group 5, this Tower reversed tells me that you were forewarned about this, like purging sort of thing, this transformation or whatever, and you kind of like ignored it. Because when I see the Tower upright, this is like unexpected change, transformation, quote unquote destruction sort of thing. So having it reverse is like you knew about this, you know, and you chose to ignore it almost, or you didn't think that it was real, whatever the case. It was like a dismissive sort of thing. So if this is the case, if you were like dismissive of it, I feel as though like the reality is kind of gonna hit you, and you're gonna be like humbled. Again, I'm not like trying to scare you, I'm not trying to freak you out, and we all have free will. This is just a general prediction. It's not going to resonate with everyone. You know, like use your discernment and critical thinking when listening to these readings. This is very, very general, you know, and we all have free will. If there's something that you don't like, you can definitely change it, you know. The future is not set in stone, essentially. So just keep that in mind, bear that in mind. But I do see like that sense of like being stripped away of like things that you may have valued for a very long time, and going through that rebirth sort of process. And I feel like a lot of you are going to be following this journey of spirituality, of enlightenment, of learning about yourself spiritually with this Hanged Man here. I feel like you're going to be gaining a new perspective with this Hanged Man. You're no longer going to be seeing things from the same perspective that you've been looking at them all this time. You're like, your perspective, your perception, your reality is definitely going to be shifted. And I feel like a lot of you are just going to be following this path of spirituality, of like enlightenment, like I said earlier. And I feel like a lot of you are kind of being called to change your ways. I feel like a lot of you are being called to be more of service. Not like a martyr, but being selfless. Being selfless and not being, for example, greedy or selfish, or focusing so much on the material world. Because that might have been an issue for you, especially with like Libra season, you know, during Libra season, people can tend to be, you know, like a little bit materialistic. And I'm pretty sure like during Libra season, we had like a Libra stellium at one point. And so having all of those planets in Libra, people can tend to be superficial and materialistic and very much based on appearances and stuff like that. So moving from Libra season into Scorpio season, it's like we're being purged of that. We're being purged of the superficialism, of the materialism, of this like overemphasis on status or looks or anything like that, you know? And so I really feel that there's just like this sort of like I keep on saying this, but there's just a purge, just a massive shift in terms of perspective. And I feel like your values are definitely going to change. Your morals might be changing by the end of Scorpio season. The person that you are now, or the person that you are in the beginning of Scorpio season is going to be different, very, very, very vastly different from the person that you will be by the end of Scorpio season. Does that kind of make sense? I feel like it's definitely a time to be like, selfless, and maybe even pious. If I'll be completely honest with you, I don't entirely understand what that word means, so I'm just throwing that out there. But like, that's kind of what comes to mind, is like being pious. But I don't think I'm using that word in the right context. So But yeah, that's kind of like what it feels like. And I feel like it's definitely a time to learn a lot. I feel like the path that some of you might have been on, whether it's literally like a military path, or if some of you like are in college, right? Because the Page of Wands to me is like learning, communication, like I said earlier, that sort of thing. So like if some of you like are in college and you're following this certain major because it was expected of you, but you're not all that happy with it, I feel like during Scorpio season, you're going to be changing your major to the thing that you actually want to do. And maybe this major has something to do with helping other people, being of service to the collective, being of service to the world in some way, being of service to the community in some way. Maybe some of you will be donating more to charities during Scorpio season. Does that kind of make sense? So yeah, so we have Saint Martin Caballero, like I said earlier. I told you a little bit about his story, the synopsis of what I read earlier. And so I really do feel like the Scorpio season is definitely a time to be, for you group 5, to be giving to other people, to be of service to other people, to be helping other people. And I feel that by helping other people, you are also helping yourself, and you are discovering yourself, you are discovering your own path. And I feel like you are finding a new path in your life. You're breaking away, you're branching away from the path that you are on now, whatever it is. You may have been set on this path, and maybe you thought, well, I was born into this, like my family has, like this has just been passed down within the family, like a family of lawyers, for example, or a family of like military people. Like it's just been passed down in the family. So it was just expected of you to do the same thing. But I feel like you're breaking away from that, despite their disapproval. I feel like you're following your own path, and it might be a little bit of a lonely path, because if you look here, there's an individual right here, and he's just walking on his path, and he's alone. It's just him. And even though it might feel lonely, I feel like it's just going to be hell. It's going to be the path for you. And eventually, you will find your group of people. You will find your soul family on this path. You will find the people that are right for you on this soul path. And I feel like you're going to be learning a lot from other people as well. We have Isaac Newton, discovery. So I feel like you're going to be discovering a lot of things about yourself. You're going to be learning a lot of things about yourself. Like I said, Page of Wands, a lot of learning, a lot of words, a lot of information that is being exchanged. If you have dropped out of college because you felt lost for whatever reason, because you didn't know what to major in, because you didn't feel passionate about it, or whatever the case may be, I feel like some of you might need to start going to college, or get a GED, or do something that has to do with learning excuse me, I like spit, I'm so sorry. But like enrolling in some sort of class about something that you're passionate about. So for example, something that comes to mind is a cook. Maybe you really like cooking, but you want to take it to the next level, and you are encouraged to take it to the next level so that you can gain more knowledge. I feel like you are being encouraged to take cooking classes, to go to a cooking school, going to a culinary school. If you, for example, like I said earlier, if you are in college right now and you're not happy with the major that you're in, but that's the major that you are expected to follow through with, I see you needing to change that major, because it's just not serving you. It's not the path for you. I feel like it's just not for you. Also, pay attention to synchronicities, specifically to the number 3. That's what this card apparently signifies. I was reading it earlier, and I was like, and they said the number 3. If you see the number 3 during Scorpio, or if you see the number 3, like pay attention to that number. It's important to you in some way. Look up the meaning of it. But what I would personally say is to pay attention to the number 1, because 2 plus 8 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So pay attention to the number 1, and also the number 1 is all about new beginnings, like a new life, a new chapter, a new life. So like a new cycle is beginning. So that's one thing, and it makes sense because we have the Death card, we have transformation. So of course there's a new chapter in your life that is beginning. And also, well, it actually that's funny because Saint Martin Caballero, the number is 12, and that adds up to 3. So the number 3 actually could be significant to you. Okay, so now we have Seeker right here. Thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. So yes, definitely going on a journey on your own journey for wisdom. I feel like that's definitely going to be important for you. It's like it's not nomadism, but it's just like, it's almost like becoming a monk almost, or just like going on this spiritual journey of like enlightenment, of just learning about spirituality, learning about, for example, the law of attraction, learning about like energy, and learning about like the ways of the world, the ways of the earth, the ways of the universe, if so to speak, you know. And then we have here shadow attribute, inability to commit to a path once found. So if that's an issue, I feel like that's going to be resolved during Scorpio season. I feel like you're going to be able to find a path. You're going to find one by the end of Scorpio season. And then we have mystic, revels in intimate union with the divine. And then delusion rapport with the divine, which is the shadow attribute. But we have mystic. So I really do feel like there's a sense of mysticism this Scorpio season for you. I feel like you're going to be learning a lot. Maybe some of you are going to be learning a lot about like physics or astronomy, astrology, numerology. That can be very significant to you this Scorpio season. Also, with the full moon that's right here, I feel like so there could be some sort of truth that is revealed to you. I'm so sorry for my stuffy nose. I feel like there's going to be some sort of truth that is revealed to you during the Taurus full moon, or even the Scorpio new moon, but I think it's the Taurus full moon because there's a full moon here. So that could be very significant to you. I feel like maybe you'll come across like a certain book that has like a lot of very valuable information. Like you'll find a book that you already had, that has significant information, or maybe like you'll find like a diary or like a journal or something that has very significant information that is going to reveal a lot of truths for you. I also, for some reason, like I feel like a lot of you are going to be getting into like witchcraft or like herbalism, or what's the other one, but just like anything that is like occult-ish, I guess you could say, or anything that has to do with like being holistic. I feel like that's something that you could be getting into. Again, I feel like astrology could be just like significant to you in some way, or physics. I think I said that earlier, but anyways, so we have two spirit messages for you. So we have forgiveness. So the heart chakra could be of significance for you this Scorpio season. And it says, holding on to resentment and anger is preventing or even suffocating your spiritual growth. Resentment is one of the strongest, is most damaging of human emotions. The act of forgiveness is in its own right is equally incredibly powerful, and it has the capacity to heal and transform. And then we have soul solitude. This is like it's like a blue gray. Your throat chakra might be blocked, and that's kind of like the vibe that I get. Your throat chakra might be blocked, or even your third eye might be blocked. Anyways, so it says, your soul needs attention. There are moments when it's important to get away, not just from the noise of the outside world, but to find a place where your soul can experience peace and quiet. A place for soul solitude. This is a time to pause, a time to reflect, a time for you. So that is all that I have for you. My voice cracked. My God, Nina. But that is all that I have for you, Group 5. I really hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments down below if it does. I would love to hear any of your feedback, all of your feedback. Hit the big thumbs up. Give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Share with your friends, family, loved ones. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. If you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below if you just want to click on it. Make sure to read all the terms and conditions and things like that, just so that you know what you're getting yourself into, and you know what my process is like and all that sort of stuff. Because most of the time, most if not all of your questions that you might have will be there somewhere, will be answered there. And if you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. And let's see, I think that's it. So Group 5, I hope that you have a wonderful Scorpio season. There is a lot of energy here, but I do believe that you're going to get through it. And I feel like it's all ultimately for the best. And I feel like you are going to come out as a better individual after this. So I wish you the best of luck. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.